All right, so the time has finally arrived. I'm gonna break down to you what the Lyft rental program is all about. And after 4 months of driving the vehicle and 1 week of not having the vehicle, I'm gonna tell you how I feel without any bias. I'm not gonna try to sway you into getting it or into not getting it. I'm just gonna give you what I experienced. For starters, you need to know it does matter if you have a vehicle already or if you're a carless person. If you don't have a car or if you don't have a vehicle, right? This will be probably one of the best opportunities for you because you get to have a vehicle. You don't have to worry how many miles on it. You do get unlimited miles. There are plans set in place. And for reference, I'm talking about the e-vehicle specifically. The gas vehicles have a little bit more flexibility, a lot more limitations because you can lower the miles that they allow you to drive. I got the e-vehicle. I have an unlimited miles. Those are pros and cons. Okay, so for starters, when you get the e-vehicle, what I was paying weekly was $364. Now the way it works, when you're doing rides, though the money and the fares that you get for each of those rides, they eat away at the weekly rental. So if the rental's $364 for you, as you go through the week, as you do rides, that number does go down. Once that hits that number, you're all set for the week and you don't have to pay, because what it is, it's a partnership between Lyft and Hertz Rental. So when Lyft tells Hertz, hey, they already paid, or they already reached the amount of money that it costs to rent this vehicle, the rest of the money is the driver's, right? So essentially you do get the rental for free because you're not paying out of pocket. But if you don't do rides that week, or if you just don't decide to do rides, or maybe on a different platform or something, you do get charged that full amount, right? And if you don't pay it, they give you 7 days, or they tell you, hey, we're gonna just repossess the car, the rental, okay? So that's how that works. It is a little expensive. If you have a vehicle that you're already making monthly payments on, whether it's financing or leasing, and you get this rental, you're essentially adding another vehicle with the same amount of costs in your life, right? So if I'm paying $500, and let's say I'm paying $300 in insurance a month, that's $700 to $800. Now if I get this rental, that's another 4 weeks in a month, that's $1,200 extra. If you don't do rides, okay? If you don't do rides whatsoever, you just want to rent the car, and you're on the Lyft platform, which is one of the qualifications. You need to be a Lyft driver, obviously, to qualify for the Lyft rental program. But if you don't do any rides, it comes out to a little over $1,200 a month. Is it worth it if you have a vehicle? I don't think so. If you're doing rides and it's just getting taken care of, then yeah, it feels like you're not spending the money on it, right? You don't have to put the mileage on your car. That's another pro when it comes to that. But in my situation, so I did Lyft and I also did Spark. That vehicle was a little bit bigger, so some Spark orders were a little easier to manage. But I did the Lyft thing for a little bit. But Lyft for me is just not really it. It's not fun. I'm gonna be honest. It's not fun, especially if I'm going into Boston or a major city. Primarily would go into Boston. There's a lot of traffic. There's a lot of construction going on. It's just not fun. In Mass, we do have an hourly guaranteed rate when you're doing Lyft, which is pretty cool. But that's only applying to the rides that you actively are giving or on your way to get to. So as long as you're on your way to a customer, you're on the platform and you're about to pick them up, you're accumulating time for that. So I didn't mind sitting in traffic because I was getting a guaranteed 33 an hour, I think it is, in Mass now. And we're one of the few states that have it. Now I have dual, what's it called? I'm able to do Lyft in multiple different states. A lot of things that go into that. You have to contact support. You have to get 2 different inspection stickers, TNC, I think it's called, inspections as well. One for Mass and I believe the other one from New Hampshire. New Hampshire is a little more lenient, but I noticed New Hampshire rides do pay less. But if you're doing another platform and doing Lyft on the side, it works out. But anyways, with the e-vehicle, right? With the e-vehicle, It's nice if you're not driving a crazy amount. The max that I was able to see on a full charge was 280 miles. Now, if I'm working more than 10, 12 hours in a day, I will probably eat through that. I'm not gonna lie. And if you're doing other platforms, that's even more miles, right? Depending on how far you're driving, whatever. But the mileage was an issue because when I was doing, let's say I do another platform, if I'm doing like Spark, for example, I'd have to stop at an area that had charging stations. I'd have to stay away from other areas that were probably as good of an opportunity to make money, but they don't have charging stations. I do live near a charging station, so I would pay to park in a parking garage, which was anywhere from $5 to $9, depending on how long. And then I would pay overnight for the cost of charging. Now, the charging never really was an issue when I'm parking in the garage. The most I've ever been charged for was $17. And that's when I have like literally 10, 20 miles left of charge. If it's doing like a full charge up to 100%, that's the max that I've ever paid in the garage. Now, just to charge to 80%, right? At a public station, that depends on the time of day. Now, if you're in the Teslas, you probably know the deal when it comes to charging times. They do fluctuate depending on what time. If it's a busy time of day where a lot of people might be charging, they're going to charge you extra per kilowatt. So that's how they do it. They charge per kilowatt. You have to do kind of your own research on that. I'm still a little bit like, I don't really understand that, but that's essentially what it is. They charge you per kilowatt. And if you're charging at a public station, those are usually, mostly always, more expensive than a slow charger. There's different levels of chargers as well. That's one thing I didn't know before I ever started driving an e-vehicle, was that there's different levels of charging. The slower the charge, the less money it costs. I did find some nice loopholes because there's a Stop and Shop, or Shaw's. I think it's a Stop and Shop. There was a Stop and Shop in one of the cities near me that actually let you charge for free, right? They let you charge for free as long as you're shopping. But the only downside to the free charging is it's a level, I think it was a level 1 charger. Whatever the lowest level was, it's a level 1 charger. So you'd probably only get like 20, 30 miles maybe, depending on how long you're shopping. It's not something that's going to fully charge your car, right? Now, depending on where you live, you might be seeing those kind of opportunities where it's like you can charge for free if you're shopping here, or you can charge for this rate if you're a member here. There's different incentives and different opportunities to help you save money. But public charger, more expensive. If you have a slow charger near where you live and you can just charge overnight, you don't even have to think about it. You just plug it in. When you wake up, it's fully charged. And then I would always get a notification when it's fully charged. So that's another thing I liked. The car, very, very smooth. Although if you're not a fan, or if you get car sickness, it might be a little bit to get used to the auto braking. You could turn it off, I believe. But it has like a regenerative braking to it. So as you're letting go of the gas, you kind of feel like a little bump where it's like starting to slow down. It lightly taps the brakes on the other end. And that helps the battery kind of recharge on its own. Not going to recharge too much, but if you have like 80 miles and you do that, you're going downhill, it charges up for you. It'll give you another mile, right? It's just like a way to conserve the battery. Hold on one second.